Welcome to All Over the Map. Take chances and ask questions.
Open discussion on all topics. The driving force. Get her done. Laughter is medicine for the soul. It's a small world after all.
I'm extremely grateful to welcome our next guest to All Over the Map, Garrett McFadden. Just a little background information about this compassionate individual before we kick things off. Garrett left home at age 16 to play for the Guelph Storm of the OHL, where he played 5 years respectively, winning the OHL championship as a 16-year-old. For the last 2 years, playing for the Storm, he took the honor of being the captain of his team, leading by example, always wearing his heart on his jersey, on and off the ice, in what I truly believe matters the most when you're in this public eye. Garrett started McFadden's Movement in September 2016, which is a non-for-profit organization in support of mental health that strives to change, help, and develop mental health among athletes starting at the grassroots level. We'll let Garrett speak about his passion for helping others himself, but I think it's important to note that since the start of the movement, he has been hosted by various minor hockey teams, as well as schools where he has introduced his personal introduction to mental health and the obstacles he's faced both on and off the ice. He's partnered up with the Canadian Mental Health Association, and since the inception of McFadden Movement, he's helped to raise over $50,000 and counting for mental health resources. And without further ado, here's the interview with Garrett McFadden. All right, so let's might as well break in the audience with a very serious question. So who's your favorite Star Wars character? And if you say Chewbacca, then we definitely have a lot in common.
Yeah, Chewbacca is definitely out there. I don't know. I didn't mind. Like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
How can you not? And then I don't know. I always like R2-D2. I thought he was pretty cool.
Nice. All right. So okay, my man, I want to hear all about the backstory of your foundation that focuses on mental health, and obviously educating the people on the topic.
Yeah. For me, I guess it was, going into my fourth year junior, I kind of, was involved a lot in just our community efforts, I think, within the organization. Like, it's just from the moment I got there, like there's always stuff going on with the fans and all that stuff. And they kept us busy away from the rink. And I think just having the opportunity to do that, like at 16, I really enjoyed it, and I kept trying to get as involved as I could with all our community stuff. And then just kind of leading up to the start of my fourth year in Guelph, we were kind of just brainstorming ideas on what to do and where to go and how, if we can make anything better. And I kind of pitched the idea to Steph Karate, who helps me out as like co-founder of McFadden's Movement. Just the idea of doing something for mental health, and kind of took off from there. We had a bunch of meetings to kind of figure out what exactly we wanted to do, and I started basically just going in, talking to teams, talking to like young athletes and stuff like that. Originally sort of just hockey teams, and I'd pop into the rink after one of their practices or something like that, and just talk a little bit about my experience and my time in the OHL. And then also we lost a close family friend, Wes Cameron, to suicide when I was in grade 9. So it's one of those things that it's taken off from there, and we've definitely changed the types of things that we're doing, and I think my talk that I go in and do changes all the time too, just with the world and how I feel and stuff like that. And it keeps things definitely interesting for me, and I think that the kids get a lot from it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a huge paradigm shift going on right now, in regards to the stigma of mental health. And it's a lot of these, young guys, such as yourself, that, are kind of pioneering the way with things that you do, the compassion that you actually have towards other people because your own personal journey. And I think, it takes a lot of courage to actually step up and give that back. And so I'm really proud of you for doing that, man. Yeah. So, uh, do you miss what I was going to say is let's hear about your personal journey and challenges of leaving home at the age of 16. That's a pretty tender age.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it was, I hadn't even turned 16 yet. I'm a late August birthday, so I I moved to Guelph, just before my 16th birthday. I didn't have my driver's license or anything like that, and um, it was one of those things. Like when I got drafted, I kind of knew, I'd be moving out. I was a first round pick to Guelph, and um, it was like one of those days where I was super excited, and at the same time, it was like, oh my God, like, everything is like approaching really quickly, and there's big change coming. And my first year was pretty difficult, I'd say. Like I didn't adjust amazingly. I didn't really play too much in my first year either. Like I think I played probably 34 35 games before Christmas time. So I was in the lineup a lot, and then I went to I played in the U17 hockey challenge in Cape Breton. And when I came back, I just kind of started getting scratched.
Yeah.
I think I only played like maybe 7 games after Christmas time. We had an unreal team. We made some big trades that brought in a lot of like veteran guys, and I just kind of found myself on the outside looking in, and it was tough because I was I believed that I was like a great player, and I thought I was going to come in and like have this immediate impact. But you kind of realize like quickly when you go from playing on your midget team, half the game, like I'm a defenseman, so it's like I'd be playing 30 minutes or whatever I could. And then it's like now you're playing, sparingly, and maybe you're clocking 10 minutes a night, and half the time you wouldn't even play in the third period or whatever. So it was a an adjustment, I think, at the rink, on the ice too, for sure, and then also outside the rink, just like going to a new high school and trying to meet all new friends, and along with you're trying to sort yourself out, figure yourself out, and you're growing up quick, and I think it was a tough first year for me, like no doubt. And
Absolutely. It doesn't really give you much of a choice. That's the thing, is you get kind of almost like thrown out to the wolves. I know that's how I felt. And, you kind of get overwhelmed or trying to fit in. And, there's a huge gap there too, between the ages of 16 to 20. There's and sometimes the 20-year-olds are looking at the 16-year-olds and thinking, there's not a jealousy factor, but, they see the young guys coming in, and, you're trying to fit in, and, but, at the end of the day, everything kind of, works out for, for a reason. There's a lot of lessons that we learn along the way. And, obviously being a captain of the team, a few years later, and you put up some great numbers there too, man. So, you're obviously well respected in the community, and that's obviously what I think matters the most. So, what was it like winning the Memorial Cup your first year in the OHL?
Well, yeah, I mean, we won the OHL that year. We made it to the Memorial Cup final. We didn't win. But yeah, I mean, winning the OHL was really cool. I didn't play a single game in the playoffs, but I was like, one of the black aces. And, by then it was kind of like I'd show up to the rink every day and just try and make things fun for the guys. And there was, a few of us that were kind of in the same situation. So we, worked hard together, and did kind of our own thing, and took it all in. And it was, I was so lucky to be on that team and to play with some of those guys. Like, there's a ton of NHL players that have come from that junior team, which is crazy to think about now. And it was such a cool experience. And then going to the Memorial Cup was just like, you felt like you're on a different planet kind of thing. Like, I don't think we went to school for like 3 weeks after we won, and it was like, we're showing up to the rink and sports nuts everywhere, and you're wearing shorts, and it's summertime, and everything just like, was feeling
on
awesome.
top of the world.
Yeah, exactly. It was on top of the world. And I don't know, you're kind of yeah, here we were in it was in London, so it was pretty cool, like the Unreal City, and yeah, we had a lot of fun there. It was pretty it was a lot to take in as a young kid, but yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun.
So I guess that probably leads into my next question. Like, did you miss your friends back home that first year, and like, were you one of the lucky ones that had a nice host family that made you feel at home and comfortable?
Yeah, oh yeah, I had unreal billets, like the Bowmans. They had two young kids, Nathan and Caitlin. When I moved in there, Nathan was 5 and Caitlin was 7. And I was there for 5 years, so I watched them grow up. And um, when I moved out of there, it was kind of like my younger billet brother there, Nathan. I'd been around for half his life, so it's kind of it's crazy to think about, like, the impact that I guess I would have had on their young lives, and growing up with them, and it was I have a younger brother, so I'm already an older brother, and I know what that's all about. But they're a lot younger, and there's a
So they
lot of
probably looked up to you a lot, and then
yeah,
you,
for sure, yeah, and they're a lot of fun, and they're really great kids. I miss them a ton. I haven't seen them in a long time with the pandemic and all that stuff going on, but
well, we'll have to
they're
make sure to send this episode out to them.
yeah,
And
yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm sure they'll be watching. They
cool.
stay pretty close, so that's yeah, no, they were awesome. And I think the transition every year, like moving there and then moving back home and trying to kind of get your feet back under you. Like, by the time I moved back in my first year, I think it was the start of June.
Yeah.
So there was, like, 3 or 4 weeks left in school. So it was, the teachers are kind of like, they don't understand it, but at that point it's like, I've been away for like 8 months. Like, I just want to go home. The last thing that I really am thinking about is like how well I'm going to transition back into my, grade 11 biology class. Like, it wasn't something that I was too concerned about. But I had a good group of friends back home who
Yeah.
also kind of transitioned into junior and into that stage. So we would all kind of come back at the same time, and so we'd all be juggling around our classes and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where you're so happy to get back after the long season that even if it's a little hard at high school or hard to kind of settle back in with your old friends, you kind of it all works out.
I think a lot of people don't understand from, the outside looking in, how difficult it is sometimes when your coach is like, you got to go to school the next day. You're coming in from a
Yeah.
long road trip the night before. You get maybe an hour and a half of sleep in. And I know in many instances, I found myself back in the day, I'd be like sleeping on my desk like this,
Yeah.
but, lucky enough, sometimes the hockey players got treated a little bit with extra benefits and
Yeah.
let off the hook, so to speak. And a lot of the teachers actually, went to the games and watched you played. So it was, I believe we're all equal at the end of the day. But sometimes some hockey players, athletes, celebrities, they get put up on this pedestal. But what people have to realize is that, we're all just human beings.
Mhm.
And, we're all just seekers and striving for, just try to be the best person we can possibly be in the present moment, So, did you ever experience any hazing or damaging rituals during your junior career? Like, and if so, how did that affect your psyche?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky. We had really great vets, and we had our things that we had to do, clean the bus, and pick up pucks after practice and stuff like that. But it was all, there was nothing that I would say was ever hazing or ever made us feel like
Less than?
yeah, less than
Yeah.
less than them. And um I'll always say this, and I feel it 100%, is the culture that I came into in Guelph was a pretty special one, and super lucky to come in as a young kid to like a team gearing up for a championship, and they were kind of focused on those things and like showing up to the rink every day and doing the right thing. And I think that definitely helped in terms of they weren't as hard on us, and we kind of did our own thing, and there was a ton of guys that helped us out. And I think that's the direction that the league is headed. And You know, since I came in as a 16-year-old, they've done a lot of different anti-hazing policies and stuff like that, and I think they've got a pretty good hold on everything that goes on, and I think that, you know, people just understand that it's just not acceptable anymore, and you know, it's something that, you know, in my time in Guelph, I am, you know, confident in saying that nothing like that ever happened, and you know, I think that a lot of it has to do with culture and you know, how each group follows the next. And like I said, I was lucky to come in as a rookie and have a bunch of guys who, you know, were you know, more positive about
Yeah.
us than maybe others, and that definitely helped. And I think that sets the tone for later generations and for other players that come in. And you know, when 16-year-olds become 19 and 20-year-olds, if they were treated poorly, then they're gonna, you know, maybe take it out on some younger guys. And if they're treated pretty fairly, then I think you kind of see that correlation. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen, you know, a lot of what's going on, on the CBC and, you know, the media these days of, you know, certain players. I'm not going to name them, but, you know, with you know, the hockey culture way back, you know, how it's affected them so much, you know, with the trauma that's going
mhm.
on. I mean, it's, I firmly believe that there's absolutely no room in the game of hockey or any sport, you know, to treat people in, you know, in a negative way that would make them feel less than, you know,
Mhm.
uh, being part of a team is, you know, teamwork, you know, and teamwork does, I mean, in my humble opinion, truly makes the dream work. And you should know that, obviously, uh, going to the, you know, OHL final and having success and whatnot. And, you know, it's all about harmony at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what you do, you know, it's all about camaraderie and just respect, you know, really treating people with respect at the end of the day. So, um, knowing your character and integrity, did you ever participate in any of these rituals? And, you know, as a veteran player, obviously, and did you feel that it was your duty as a leader to try to put a stop to some of the madness that maybe went on behind the scenes of, you know, say the glitz and glamour that a local celebrity such as yourself, you know, at the time was, you know, going through? So, but you know, you kind of answered that one question that it wasn't so bad.
Mhm.
But were you one of the guys that was, you know, kind of, you know, keep a stronghold on, you know, making sure, you know, the younger guys are being treated well with respect and accepted?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely too. And I think that for me, obviously, like I struggled a lot when I was 16.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, when I sit back and think about it, um, you know, how the guys treated me, which was, you know, they were awesome to me, and you know, I still struggled. So it was just kind of one of those things that I always thought about, like, you know, what if I had a hard time when and there was a lot of hazing going on, and then one, I was struggling because I wasn't playing and I was upset about that, and then two, having, you know, your teammates come down on you and you know, having to do stuff or you know, being treated poorly by the older guys, like it wouldn't help. And so that's something that, like, you know, we tried to, you know, have none of that, and then make sure that, you know, we were the young guys always felt comfortable. For me, like,
Yeah.
the older I got, the younger our team seemed. Like, my second year in the league, we still had a pretty veteran team, but then my third year in Guelph, I think we were the youngest team by far. I think we had, you know, 9 or 10 16-year-olds. So
Wow.
it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, these kids are, if we're gonna pick on them and you know, treat them poorly, then we're not gonna be a good team, because
Exactly.
they make up half of our team. So it's just like it just makes no sense to, you know, you want them to succeed. And we had a lot of guys come in, you know, that were pretty high profile and pretty high draft picks. Like, my third year, we had my fourth year, we had Ryan Merkley, who was the first overall pick, come in, and you know, he was an unbelievable player. And it was just like, you know, if you wanted to have success, then you wanted to make sure that that guy was, you know, feeling right at the rink and comfortable and stuff like that, because he's one of our best players. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it was something that I think, as you know, the leadership groups that I was a part of, for sure, we you know, tried to make the young guys feel as comfortable as possible, and I think that helped to kind of, you know, make it more normal to just, you know, everyone respect everyone, and nobody should feel like they're lesser just because of what year they are in the league. And um, I think it worked out pretty well for us.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know when you go on, you search your name on Google, a lot of photos come up. If you giving back, to the foundation, and that's really what sparked my interest in you is the fact that you're passionate about giving back to the game, not just the game, but people in general. That and that you've been able to raise money, for the cause, and what better cause, especially at this point of the game, it's of utmost paramount, I think, that, people's mental stability is balanced, so to speak, because it can get out of whack there. And, the ramifications, obviously, we've both lost people to suicide. And there's been a lot of there's been a lot of suicides in the NHL as well in the past years. And it just breaks my heart, when you see wonderful guys, that, full of life, and, hilarious guys that, you become close with. And the next thing you know, that, it's, they're kind of hiding behind a mask, and, hiding their depression, hiding, these feelings. And it's pretty awesome that a guy like you can actually be so open about it, which opens up, other people to be transparent about their own mental health journeys. So, yeah. So in your viewpoint, what is your point on coaches that try to motivate by intimidation and not motivation? I know a lot of players who lost the love of the game because in many cases they were scared of their coach and other players on their team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's such a fine line, I would say, between the two, right? It's I think obviously that coaches who are there to motivate you and are, you can feel comfortable around, they're going to get the most out of their players. Like, that's my belief for sure. And one day when I hopefully become a coach, and that's kind of, that's the style of coaching that I want to bring to the team that I'm coaching or whatever. And I think that the style of intimidation coaching is old school, and I think it's sort of being pushed out of the game, which is a good sign for the mental health of hockey players.
Absolutely.
And I think it's it'll help people to be able to reach higher levels of success. And I think programs or teams or junior clubs that can sort that out and realize that highly motivated players are going to be the more successful ones, and they're also going to look better on the organization as a whole, and they're going to be more successful individually and then as a team too. So it's just like for me, it's I was lucky to have a lot of motivational coaches who use that style, and who were what I guess we would call player coaches, and guys that you always felt like you could show up on their doorstep with anything, and they'd help you out. So I was pretty lucky. And in junior, I had 4 different coaches in 5 years, but all that would do whatever they could for you. And in terms of other management and stuff like that, like Mike Kelly was our GM for my first 4 years in Guelph, and like he would he'd pick us up for school every morning and drive us to school, and he'd pick us up from he'd take you anywhere, and he'd do anything for you, and he'd give you his last dime, was kind of the way I would think about Mike Kelly. So like those types of people are the people that you kind of you want to hold on to in hockey. And but there unfortunately is some people that that's not their style, and I think it definitely shows, and can definitely take the love out of the game for some people. And it's unfortunate, but like I said, I think it's kind of on the way out of the game, which is a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. So knowing that you're a natural born leader, how did it feel when you were named captain of the Guelph Storm? And did you feel any added pressure with the C stitched to your jersey?
It was a big honor for me. I I'd always just been an assistant captain. I'd never been like a full captain, not on any team that I ever played for. So, it's one of those things that like I believed in myself, and I think I try to show up to the rink every day and do the right things, and that I wasn't going to change, how I felt about that and what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. But I learned from a lot of great leaders, from before me. Matt Finn was our captain in my first year, and he was kind of he was like one of the greatest leaders I've ever played with. And he was just one of those guys that he electrified a room, and he also made you feel really comfortable. And I think he brought people together, and it was, something that I learned from him, that, he wouldn't pass by anyone at the rink without saying hi and asking how they were. And, my second year we had Jason Dickinson, who's, in Dallas right now,
Yep.
battling for the cup. So
who's going to win the cup this year?
Well, I hope
Pull
Dallas.
for Dallas? Yeah.
I hope for Dallas. But I mean, obviously Tampa's a pretty unreal team.
They got an unreal team. I was actually talking to one of my buddies that played for the Lightning yesterday, and I called Tampa in 5, and he called 7 about a week ago. So anyways, I think it could go 7 games. Who knows? But it's kind of strange watching no fans in the building, eh?
It is. Yeah, it's weird. Anyways. But, I mean, Jason, he was an unreal leader too. So I was just lucky to be, learn from a few guys that were great leaders. And from there, I guess just it made me feel like, less pressure, just because I knew how they did it, and I knew how successful they were. And, I kind of took things that I liked that they had in their leadership styles, and tried to kind of incorporate and put my own spin on it. And, I think I did a pretty good job.
Well, it's like the old saying goes, you're the sub and substance of the 5 people that you associate yourself with the most. So, everything being, energy, so to speak, being around that positive energy kind of ignites that spark from within, and propels you forward into, wanting to do well and feeling good about yourself and the people that you're surrounded by. So that's pretty cool, man. So what was the worst injury that you ever sustained while playing hockey? And did you ever take any big blows to the head, any concussions, and how many were diagnosed?
Yeah, I'm sure I've had a few concussions. I don't think any have been diagnosed, but I'm not a big guy. I'm a, smaller puck moving defenseman. So the odd time, I get caught in the trolley tracks and put myself in in a bad position. But
smaller guy with a big heart.
Yeah. But yeah, I've had a few good ones. The last couple of years, I did my MCL at Christmas time last year, which was a bit of a bummer. And when I played over in Russia, we were in Siberia for like the university FISU games kind of thing. I separated my shoulder over there, and that was pretty bad one. And just being in Siberia was made it all the more strange, and flying home with my arm in a sling and whatever.
How's it feeling now?
Feels pretty good now. Yeah. A lot of rehab, but I mean, it doesn't look the same when you look at it in the mirror, but it's one of those things that you kind of get used to. So the odd night I'll sleep on it wrong, and it hurts in the morning.
I'll have to send you something. I had a torn rotator cuff, and 3 months ago the doctor told me that I needed surgery on it. And I've been really lucky. Well, I'd say blessed. I met a wonderful Aboriginal lady in the Okanagan here, and she makes this medicine. It's actually there's CBD that's in the cream, and she said just apply it 4 times a day. You don't need surgery. And I was like, I can't even move my arm past my shoulder, and within a month, I have full mobility again. That's and crazy. Actually can get back into the gym and actually feel good. Like my body's not completely broken down. But so what has the game of hockey taught you about life in general?
Oh man, that's I could go on forever. Like when I was a young kid, it was like, time management and just, I think doing being like a good person. I mean, like you just want to, the one thing I think hockey is huge for, and even any team sport, is just like being a good person. And you realize that like the better teammate you are, and the more selfless you are, then the more more people will be gravitated towards you, and you feel more united and more like a team. And um, obviously there's the intangibles and stuff that you
Absolutely.
learn. You're learning every day, and I think, like I said, like from a young age and driving to practice and doing all that stuff, and you're trying to do homework in the car. And um, it was the same thing when I was in Guelph, and you move to junior and you still have homework. And then now I go to university and play hockey, so I would say it's just like managing everything, like managing your emotions, managing your time, managing, like, what you're putting in your body. It's like you learn so much from the game. Just I think about yourself too, and then on top of that, it's just, yeah, being a good teammate is probably like one of the best things that I guess hockey has kind of taught me.
Yeah, gives you a lot of fulfillment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in your mind, what defines a good leader? So many people, for instance, a player like Sidney Crosby, or in my era, a guy like Steve Yzerman led more by action than words. Were you a vocal guy on and off the ice? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm more of like a lead by example type. I feel like I bring my work belt to practice every day into the rink, and like I said, just kind of do the right things. And I'm not afraid to speak up, and I enjoy saying what I think needs to be said and when. And um, I obviously don't want to overkill it, and you don't want to be bugging anyone and trying to maybe overcompensate for things that are going on. But yeah, I think like
Don't
the
tell
team.
people what to do, show them what
Yeah,
to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think it's a huge part of leadership is obviously sometimes shutting your mouth and getting the work done. And I think the best way to you know show that you're a leader is by what you can get done, whether it's at the
Getting
rink
her
or
done
in
and
the
having
gym.
fun.
Or, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Right on. So, what's your advice to all the kids that have dreams and aspirations of making a living from sports? And obviously, talent only takes an individual so far, right? So,
mm. Yeah, for me, like growing up, it was always just about having fun. And I was pretty lucky to have really good parents who you know weren't shy to express that if I was ever not enjoying something, that I should not do it. And it's one of those things that the game is getting so serious at such a young age. And um, the more resources and the more training methods and the more skill sessions and all that stuff is, it's great. And I think it's great for the growth of the game, but at the same time it can be overkill, especially for kids at a young age. So
yeah,
I think
yeah,
just the reason that I still play hockey and the reason that I want to play in the NHL one day, or I want to play pro, is because I love hockey and like it's my passion. And um, it's what I wake up every day and I want to do. So it's one of those things that if I didn't feel that way about hockey, like I probably I wouldn't be playing, because um, I don't think that it would be fun if I wasn't so passionate about it that I feel like it's like my purpose. I want to
yeah.
like wake up every day, go to the rink, and I want to get enough sleep. I want to train. I want to be in good shape so that I can be the best version of myself on the ice. So
Nothing better than being in hockey shape. I was having that
yeah,
conversation with another friend the other day. It's you can go to the gym all you want, you can run all you want, but strapping a pair of blades on there, and it's when you get into that flow there. I mean, I don't think there's anything like it. It's
yeah,
yeah, it's a good feeling.
yeah,
It releases
100%.
those
Yeah,
natural endorphins, and you can't wait to
yeah,
get back on there again.
yeah.
Yeah, you're probably one of those guys that was the last guy on the ice, eh?
Well, I try to, stay out there for as long as I can. I
Yeah,
mean, it's now that you got schoolwork and stuff like that, and I don't know. I mean, I'm a student now, so I got to go home and cook my own dinner. And
yeah,
it's when I was in Guelph, yeah, I'd try and stay at the rink for as long as I could and soak it all in, and then it'd be nice. I'd get back to my billets, and my billet mom was an unreal cook, so there'd be an unreal meal waiting for me, and get to hang out with the kids all night. But yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, I love the game. I love like getting to the rink early. I love being one of the last to leave all the time. So it's kind of my, definitely my happy place. I like to spend a lot of time there. So I've been really missing it over the pandemic. It's been pretty tough. So
Yeah, it's been tough for a lot of people, man. It's um yeah, I was maybe just one of the millions that called it right off the bat that, people that suffer from addiction issues and mental health issues, obviously their go-to is isolation. And, people are unfortunately going through some, very challenging times. Antidepressants and all that kind of stuff are on the uprise. I was actually talking to a pharmacist last week. They said that, antidepressants and sedatives and whatnot, they're up on the up to 30% now. In the last 8 months they've gone up. So you know I'm all about the natural way of healing. What's your take on that? Going the chemical way, big pharma, or tackling it with health, training, exercise, and positivity. But
100% that way. I mean, it's like, and for us too, as and what we do with McFadden's movement is like, we're big on talking and expressing how you feel to people, and along with that, just like carrying a positive attitude. And I think that's something that like I learned from my time in the OHL was the days that I felt my worst were because I wasn't focusing on all the good.
Yeah.
So, just trying to, teach the kids that. And that's, kind of what I go with when I'm having a bad day or, I'm feel like I'm in a bit of a slump, which has been, a lot lately, which kind of sucks, but it's one of those things that there's still a lot of good that you can focus on. And the more that you can kind of draw that out and do things that make you happy, then, the better off you're going to
I call them ants. Yeah. Automatic negative thoughts. And so unfortunately they inject themselves willingly, and the positives need to be injected by us. And then we can set up that outer guard to the subconscious, and eventually when we keep pounding those positive affirmations, and we set up that outer guard so the negatives aren't injecting themselves in so much, and we can kind of life's not so much like this, and it's more like this. So so who was your favorite player growing up, and why?
Oh man, I had a few. When I was younger, I really liked Gary Roberts on the Leafs. I was a big Matt Sundin fan. Like, I'm like a Leafs fan, diehard. My dad is
Great
a
guy,
huge
Matt.
Leafs
I met him a
fan.
few years back in Whistler and had wonderful gentleman.
Yeah, he was. Matt's was definitely one of my favorite all time for sure. And just grew up watching him. There's a pretty good story from when I was younger, and Sweden was playing Canada at the Olympics, and I was cheering for Sweden because Matt Sundin was on there. And I think my dad wasn't too impressed with that. But
is that 2010?
Probably, yeah. I can't remember. I was just a young kid, but it was. I love Matt Sundin. He's pretty fun to watch. I loved Ed Belfour too. Like, I love all like those old Leafs.
You like the old school
classic,
boys, eh?
Yeah, the old school boys. But I mean, I loved. I like watching Ryan Ellis play. I think he's an unreal player. Like, as I got older and I was more interested in the World Juniors and stuff like that. Just like watching that guy work the power play up top, and he's kind of a smaller guy, so I try to kind of emulate him when I go out there and play hockey and do that. But he's one of my probably favorite to watch lately. So
right on, man. Yeah, so many good players these days. I mean, the game has changed so much. God, the skill set with some of these guys is just like, I mean, you say, who's the best player in the game today? You got like 10 to choose from, or 20 to choose from. It's like, I mean, I think that all comes down to like hockey specific training. I mean, I never had that growing up. Our summers were spent, kind of having fun. And then 2 weeks before training camp, we might do some stairs and a little bit of weights, but now if you're not given her 12 months out of the year, taking little breaks maybe, but it's a full-time job now, or else, and all the politics that go into it with the agents and whatnot. It's, there's a lot of pressure on these guys still, actually, achieving the end goal, if it's the NHL or if it's just playing junior and, you know, getting an education to be a coach. There's so much that plays into those factors.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's you know, the game's changing. The guys are, it's pretty unreal to watch how skilled the league is getting, and I think it'll continue that way. That's the trending way. So, you know, guys are becoming better puck handlers, better skaters, and it makes the game fast and exciting to watch. So I think hockey's in a really good place right now, and it's exciting to watch. Like you said, like there's 10 guys that you could debate on who's the best, and it all, you know, matters on who's playing tonight and who's you know, stealing the show. So
who do you think's the best right now? Best defenseman, best forward?
Well, I can't not say McDavid. I played against the guy when I was in junior, and it's just like to watch him do that kind of stuff to NHL defensemen is just insane.
He's ridiculously sick with the puck.
Yeah,
His speed is just unreal. I mean, the guy is next level, absolutely next level. Was it, so playing against him in junior, was it just, I mean, almost?
Yeah, he was just different, like, because we're the same age. So when I came into the OHL as a 16-year-old, he had already been exceptional status, and you know, he was like working on his first of whatever 2 or 3 100-point seasons, and it's just like, this guy is just unbelievable. And then it's like trying to think where I'm at. You know, I thought I was a pretty good player, as a 12th overall pick, and I'm coming in and like, this guy is, you know, he's off to the World Juniors, and you know, it's just like, it's pretty unbelievable. And you know, he's putting people in seats, and you know, there's the Erie Otters are coming into Guelph, and there's more people booing and on at Connor McDavid than there are cheering for us when we score and stuff. So no, he was a lot of fun to play against. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, he lit us up a few times. So,
I think he lights everybody up a few times.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just nice that, you know, it happened to me a few times when I was playing against him, and now he goes and does it to NHL defensemen. So it's just like, oh man. Like and I'm sure, you know, he's gotten way better since his time in the OHL, and it's pretty cool to watch him every year, just, you know, putting up 5 or 6 points a night. It's like, oh my god, it's crazy.
Yeah, and him and Draisaitl are both sick. Patty Kane, you know, so many good players these days. Yeah, so fighting has always been part of the game. Do you think it is a part of the game that should be removed? I know it's not as prevalent as it used to be, but obviously it's a game that's run high on emotions.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, where fighting is at now, and I would say, like, if you know, took an analytical view at it, like the fighting has gone way down. And I think when I first started playing in the OHL, there was like a 10 fight max, and by the time I left, it was like a 3 fight max a year. So it's you know, in terms of junior, I don't like it's, you know, there's maybe a fight, and I think, you know, in my first couple of years, it wasn't as surprising to see a fight, and then, you know, by my 4th and 5th year, if there was a fight in a game, it, you know, usually required, you know, a lot. Someone had to do something pretty, you know, or their emotions were running pretty high. So I think it's something that I don't know if it'll ever be taken right out of the game, but I think that, you know, being able to have it in the game is, you know, it's good and bad. And I think, you know, obviously the injuries that come from it aren't great, but it's one of those things that it's, I don't know, it's part of the game, and it's tough. And you know, it's you kind of where it's heading in terms of just less fighting and more of a skilled game. I like that.
It's not so much like going to war anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
In
So,
the old days, it was like Gladiator, for crying out loud. It was like the ancient Rome sometimes, with those bench clearing brawls. You don't see that anymore, which is
anyways, I haven't been in too many fights in my career, so I'm not you know, I'm not it doesn't really affect what I'm doing out there too much. So it's one of those things. You know, I like a fast, skilled game, but I get that, you know, the odd time guys are high on emotions, and it happens.
Right. So let's get back to McFadden's movement for a sec here. You know, I think it's important, you know, to talk more about that. And, you know, what advice do you have for anyone suffering from mental health issues, you know, when they feel hopeless and when they're afraid to actually seek help? I was one of those people.
Yeah. The afraid part is one of the hardest, and it takes a lot of confidence in yourself to, speak out on your emotions. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the hardest part is, oftentimes, and what we talk about to the kids a lot is, you're feeling these emotions, you gear yourself up to someone who you trust, and you say, this is how I feel, this is what's going on with me. And if you don't get the right feedback, then you just fall back into that shell again.
Yeah.
So, we try and really focus on with the kids. If you can go and talk to someone and you don't get the right feedback, then you need to keep trying.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but eventually there's going to be someone who will lead you in the right direction and who'll
Yeah.
give you the right advice. And it's important that you don't give up on yourself. And obviously you probably have a pretty good idea of the people that you want to talk to and that you're going to get the right feedback from. But if you don't try, and if you don't keep trying to find that feedback, then it's going to be hard to really channel your emotions and sort of figure out where to go and what to do, and kind of the next steps in terms of getting back on track. So we talked to the kids a lot about that. And like I said, it's for us, it's about promoting positivity and finding those things that can help you sort of escape. And we talk to the kids a lot about finding a passion, whether it's if they're upset, they go read a book, or they go rollerblading, or go for a run, or we talk a lot about meditation and yoga, and
Yeah.
and how exercise works well for the brain, and can kind of help clear your mind. So we talk a lot about that stuff, and I think it's all good. And um, especially for young kids who are just sort of learning and figuring out what exactly mental health is, just telling them if they have a bad day, then go outside and shoot 100 pucks and you'll feel better. Kind of find that thing that
Yeah.
helps. And I think it's a simple way for them to start, and a simple way for them to sort of get to feeling better about themselves.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. So, at this point in your life, what means the most to you? And, what are your aspirations for the future, brother?
Yeah, well, this year is my last year in school, so I'll have
So
my
you're going to get
degree
straight
and
A's.
hopefully get straight A's. Yeah, yeah. There's no excuses when it's online school. You got your resources there, so gotta do that. I've been I worked pretty hard last year and last few years to get my degree done in 3 years. So I'm excited about that, and excited to sort of move on, and I want to keep playing hockey. So
Awesome.
hopefully move on to pro, and kind of start that part of my career. And I'm pretty excited about that, and feel pretty good about it. Just going in with a degree and not really worrying about not so much having a plan B if hockey doesn't work out. And I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be able to play for quite a while, and I'm excited about that. So just kind of hopefully we get to playing in January, when the season is sort of looking like we might restart. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to obviously get one more year in of university hockey, and then go from there.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, you went to the Vancouver Canucks training camp, correct?
Yeah, just before I started playing at Acadia. So after my overage year in Guelph, I went out to Vancouver for rookie camp and
My hometown,
main
but not my
camp.
favorite team. Who's your favorite team?
I'm a Leafs guy for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, through and through. Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Mario and Crosby, two favorite players. Yeah.
Those are two good guys. Thank you.
So, anyways, what's your message to the world in these days of uncertainty? How can we all play our part in solution-based ideas?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I would just say for me, just like keep pushing.
Yeah.
It's there's been a lot of different emotions that I think I've felt over the last 6 months or whatever it's been. And it's like you said, it's been hard with the negative thoughts that kind of come into your mind when you don't feel like you're living your normal life, which is basically kind of nothing really feels normal as of right now. And I guess just trying to find those new normals and find those things that are good outlets, and just sort of keep pushing, like I said. And things are eventually going to sort of normalize, and
The
we'll
new
get back
normal,
to,
whatever that
yeah,
is.
exactly, the new
I think
normal.
it's hard to compartmentalize a lot of like what's going on, because you
Yeah,
don't really know what's going on, and
yeah.
every day it's like, okay, there's this going on, and I don't even like to use that word.
Hmm.
I know there's two bad C words out there right now, and the second one seems worse than the first one right now. I
Yeah,
think
seriously.
so.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate your openness. And so how can we follow you with everything? I know
Sure.
you do have an Instagram account and
Yeah.
Facebook and all that kind of stuff. I want our audience to really be able to, plug in and tune into, what you're doing, the people that are involved.
Mhm.
And, all over the maps, all about exposing good people and personalities that are making contributions to this world in a positive light. So give me the goods.
Yeah,
Actually, give our audience the goods.
sure, yeah. My personals are G McFadden 27, and then that's Instagram and Twitter, and then yeah, our McFadden's Movement pages. We have a Twitter account, Facebook, and Instagram, and we do a lot of stuff on there. We have a website, mcfaddensmovement.com, with basically all our info about what we've been up to for the last 4 or 5 years there. And it's a lot of stuff that I'm pretty passionate about there. I'm pretty proud of
That's awesome.
all the stuff that we put up there. So
Yeah, what's
it's
your whole take on social media these days?
I like it. I think it's huge. Like I'm not the most active on my own personal ones, but I think I like having the McFadden's Movement ones just to post
Yeah,
about what I'm passionate about, and kind of being able to use it as a resource to kind of push people to obviously help us raise money for mental health, and also just a reminder of, and I think it's a good platform to give a voice, I guess, to myself, and
yeah,
on important days like suicide prevention day, and all that stuff. And also on top of that, we have our ambassadors program, so a lot of my buddies have come on board, and it gives them a chance too to kind of advocate for something that they're passionate about. and
yeah.
and I'm obviously happy to be able to share their quotes, and their ideas on our Instagram and our Twitter.
Yeah, it's like the universe is like a well-stocked kitchen of
Yeah.
ingredients, and we have the choice, or the choice is, to either we can make a positive influence on those platforms, or make a negative influence. And I mean, who gives a rat's ass, how many followers you have, or this or that? They say that, getting likes and followers releases dopamine and instant gratification and all that kind of stuff. But, to all you people out there that may have, 200, 300 followers, who cares? It's just, lead by example, and,
Mm,
just be you. At the end of the day, there is only one you, and that one you is so special. And to express your own unique individuality is, that's just a gift. And I we all go through ups and downs, but if we open up the old blinkers first thing in the morning, there's another chance, another day to create,
mm.
and just do our best to have fun with life instead of focusing on the negatives. We can really surround ourselves with positive, like-minded people. That's why I'm so
Yeah,
glad that we've been able to connect.
yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to give to our audience on a send off here?
Well, yeah, thanks for having me on, and to the listeners, appreciate you listening, and hope that you take a look at our page, and what we're doing with McFadden's Movement. And on top of that, just hope everyone is getting by, and I hope this listening to us shoot it has helped you feel better, or at least motivated to make a difference in the mental health of yourself, or someone in your life. So it's something that I'm pretty passionate about, and I'm happy to be able to share my story.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm really grateful for our friendship, and thank you so much for being part of All Over the Map.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Right on. Thanks, man.